How's it going, guys and gals? This is Anthony, and I'm here to apologize for the, the inconsistency in some of the uploads, but it's because in a couple of weeks my finals are gonna be happening, my semester finals, so that's why there's been a little bit of inconsistency with the uploads, but I've got a backlog but I've got a backlog of videos that haven't been uploaded yet, but they were already recorded, but I haven't had the time to upload them. So here is one of the videos that's been in the backlog for almost 2 months, which is episode 3 of WWE Unreal Worth the Wait. Once again, I apologize, and next week I am hoping to send to go back to the consistency that I am known of. So now you're gonna be hearing Anthony from the past. Past Anthony, there you go. How's it going, guys and gals? This is Anthony, and today we're back at it with a new video on the channel, where today we'll be talking about episode 3 of WWE Unreal Worth the Wait. This episode centered around Chelsea Green, Bianca Belair, and Charlotte, and the return of Charlotte Flair in the 2025 Royal Rumble. But before I continue, if you like this type of content, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. So now, without further ado, let's jump right in. So the episode started with Bianca Belair presenting herself. She was talking about how real name Bianca Nicole Blair Crawford. So, Bianca Belair, so that's where her real name came from. And she was talking about how, and then she was talking about how, well, first of all, I am not gonna jump back and forth like the episode did, because we were seeing some stuff with like Bianca, then we will jump to Chelsea, then we will jump to Stephanie, then we will jump to Charlotte, then to Stephanie. I'm gonna talk about everything that was relating to one person on one go. So Bianca was like, yeah, my name is Bianca Nicole Blair Crawford. She was talking about how her gimmick is that she's the EST. We saw a clip of her having a conversation, I think it was with Liv Morgan, but we didn't see her. We didn't see who she was talking to, but I think due to the voice, I think it was Liv Morgan. And she was talking about how she saw all these little girls in a meet and greet with the braid. And then she goes into the story of how she got the braid and how she got to keep the braid. Because it was something that Montez Ford told her to keep. And she's always credited her husband with, like, he is the reason of why I have the braid. And he told her, if someone is watching WWE for the first time, they will not remember your name, but they will remember the girl with the braid. And then also, and when she's talking about the braid, we see all of the people that she's whipped with the braid, and she's like, the shots are real. They're not a work, they're a shoot. And hey, those marks are no work. we saw the marks that she left on Sasha Banks, on Becky Lynch. Later on, when they show clips from the Elimination Chamber, the the marks she left on poor Liv Morgan. And also Rhea, and then later on the episode, we saw that the first two options of winning the women's Royal Rumble, the first one was Bianca Belair, and then the second option was like, oh, imagine that there's no one in the ring when number 30 when number 30 comes out, and it's Chelsea Green, and she wins by default. And I'm like, man, one of these years they have to do that finish with a heel, because that is the perfect heel finish for a heel to win the Rumble and go to the main event of WrestleMania. Like, I hope they have that finish on the back of their minds in the future for a heel, because that is the type of finish that only works with a heel. I hope they don't use it with a babyface, because it would be the stupidest thing ever. But with a heel, it's worked so well. Then we see Bianca Belair arriving before the Rumble and how she's talking, and we see how she's like suing her own attire, and she accidentally punctured her breast with the needle, and she was like, ow. And I say puncture because if I say the S word, when you get hurt with a sharp object, I may get the video takedown. So well, you know. And then we go and talking about Bianca's gear, we go fast forward on the road to Elimination Chamber, and we see Bianca creating her gear for Elimination Chamber, which I think it is a pretty nice touch that she is the one creating all of her gear. Because, hey, Michael Hayes said it on the WWE Unreal. She should have a clothing line once she retires, because she will make a lot of money. That's all I'm gonna say. She will be making a lot of money with a clothing line when she retires. Then we go on and talking about Michael Hayes. He sits down and talks about how Bianca was chosen to be Jade's tag team partner when Jade debuted on the 2024 Royal Rumble. Two-time Women's Tag Team Champions. But then Jade gets injured, and they go with the whodunit. Who attacked Jade Cargill? And he's talking about how the prime suspects were Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, and they decided to go with the plot twist of, instead of having the obvious, go with the one closest to her, it being Naomi. And we see a clip of the Elimination Chamber when Jay comes back going down the ring. Liv is literally begging for mercy, and when Jay attacks Naomi, we once again see the camera shot of Bianca Belair selling, what the hell's going on? What are you doing? What are you doing? Which at the time I said that was excellent selling by Bianca Belair, selling the drama. Selling the drama, it was perfect. And then Bianca is also the one that closes the episode with like saying after winning the chamber, she's like, I want to be undefeated at WrestleMania. I mean, you took the pin on WrestleMania 41, Bianca, so undefeated no more. You know, that sucks for you. The undefeated streak is over. Now, let's go with Chelsea Green, which I thought was the funniest part of this entire episode. When Chelsea Green introduced herself, she was I mean she gave the name she used on TNA, which was Laura Banez, the name she used in Lucha Underground, which was Reclusa, and now she wrestles with her by her real name, Chelsea Green. After that, we go with Stephanie McMahon and Triple H talking about how for the last decade the women have been an integral part of the show. You know, practically Stephanie glazing herself for the women's revolution when technically the women's revolution happened in TNA. You know, Gail Kim, Awesome Kong, the Beautiful People, Roxy. You know, those people were the real women's revolution. Taylor Wilde, Madison Rain. That is the women's revolution. But whatever, to fit your agenda, which is the first thing that pissed me off in this episode of a couple of things. Chelsea Green, I put in my notes just like Cody, referring to the fact that she only uses her gear once. Just like Cody with the suits, that he only uses a suit once, which insane. My guy, you are a top guy and you're wasting a lot of money. You're gonna go bankrupt like your father, man. With that type of shit. But hey, if I was making $5 million a year, maybe I'd be doing the same thing. So no judging there, even though I just judge a little bit. She described her character as a Karen who is there to provide entertainment, how she wanted to be a diva, the beauty, the sparkles. She loved all of that when she became a fan. Also, she talked about how she's always that she has no problem being the father to the baby face if it means being booked every single day. On that same segment, she was speaking her frustrations on not being booked on a live event in Quebec on Survivor Series weekend because she had invited friends, family, and then she's like, I had to tell them I am not booked. So we see this clip of Chelsea Green hanging out with her sister. She's backstage for Survivor Series. And we see her on the skybox during the women's war games match with a not so happy face. But hey. And also, I didn't know this, but she said that she called Triple H to get her job back. I did not know that. That she called Triple H to get her job back. Therefore, her return on the 2023 Royal Rumble. So, That's nice to hear. And then a couple of weeks later, on the wait, if on the 37th edition of Saturday Night's Main Event, which was December 14th, 2024, because a couple of weeks ago, it was like a month and a half ago, was at the time of this recording, a month and a half ago was Saturday Night's Main Event 40, which was July 12th. So, just in case, at the time of this recording, we are in August. I mean, late August, early September, depending on when I upload this. If I upload it later than that, I apologize. But I was making a mental count of which edition of Saturday Night's Main Event was it. So, she is talking with Michi about the layout of the match. She's also talking with the Hurricane. The Hurricane is telling her, well, the finish is gonna be a leg drop, and she's like, I've never done a leg drop before. And she's also like, I'll say yes to anything in creative. I'll do business. I'll be the fodder for the babyface. I'll be the babyface's punching bag, whatever. But I need to win with my finish, not with a leg drop. And she fought to win with the Unpretty Her. And guess what? It was the right decision. Because the way she transitioned into that Unpretty Her from the top rope was great. And the pop from the crowd when she won the title. Because since they were in... That was on NASA Coliseum, right? Which, New York, not too far from Long Island, which is where Matt Cardona is from, her husband. So she was the people's sentimental favorite at the time. People were behind Chelsea during that show. I remember that. And man, when that 3 count, when the ref counted 3, the standing ovation from the people was insane. We see her backstage screaming, side plates, when one of the staff is putting the side plates on the women's US title. That was great. And before I continue with Charlotte, I mean, there is some stuff still with Chelsea Green, not that much, but before I continue, where the funniest thing is when she's like, well, let's use the leg drop then. She does the leg drop on a crash pad, and she's like, I effing peed myself. No, not doing it. And because she's legit scared of heights. And during that while, when she's talking about that, we see the clip from Money in the Bank 2024 in Toronto, when Tiffany Stratton pushes her onto the Tower of Tables, which I think is the moment that really it's really the moment when Chelsea really won the women's US title. That is the moment when the company said she'll be the first women's US champion, but just by her taking that bump, by doing business the right way and not whining about it. We see clips of the Women's Royal Rumble with Chelsea Green, where when she arrives to the building during the Royal Rumble match, when she's trying to eliminate everybody, but ends up eliminating 0 people, and that is, you know, that is Chelsea's part of the show. And now we go with Charlotte Flair, where we begin with her ACL surgery. We see the moment on November 2023 where when she has the match with Asuka on SmackDown, when they trip from the top rope, they both trip. Cannot get up. She cannot get up. She's limping. You know. And then, we get the news that she suffered a terrible triad on 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 her knee, which for people who don't know what a terrible triad is when you have a torn ACL, a torn meniscus, and a sprained or torn MCL on the same knee. The MCL, normally, if it doesn't heal on its own, then you get surgery. Fortunately for Charlotte, the MCL healed on its own, and the meniscus, with a torn meniscus, you just scrape it a little bit. You just scrape the area that's torn, and you make it smooth again. Like it's not that big of a procedure. Normally, torn meniscus is like 4 weeks out. The real injury here was the torn ACL. When she's in surgery, she's like, and then right after that, she's like, my name is actually Flair, but my real name is Charlotte Flair. She talks about being a second generation superstar. And then she goes into her brother Rick's passing due to his addictions, and how they both wanted to be wrestlers. They were both training, and a year into her training, he passes due to an addiction related passing. His passing was addiction related. I'm not gonna say the word because when this goes on YouTube, I may have to cut the word or beep it, and and she talks about people saying, like, oh, Charlotte returns, automatically gets a title shot, and she's like, man, like, those criticisms hurt. You know what I mean? And talks about missing WrestleMania 40 because if you really think about it, ever since Charlotte went up to the main roster in 2015, she's wrestled on every single WrestleMania. Like she wrestled WrestleMania. She was called up on May 2015. So she wrestled WrestleMania 32, which was the triple threat between her, Sasha Banks, and Becky. WrestleMania 33, which was the fatal 4-way between her, Sasha Banks, Bayley, and Nia Jax. WrestleMania 34, the match with Asuka. WrestleMania 35, the triple threat with Ronda and Becky. WrestleMania 36, the match against Rhea Ripley. WrestleMania 37, I don't remember who she wrestled. WrestleMania 38 was Ronda, and WrestleMania 39 was the excellent classic match against Rhea Ripley. So, I mean, she was emotional about missing WrestleMania 40. And then right after that, we go about a Stephanie McMahon interview in the Pat McAfee show talking about surprises in the Royal Rumble. So as I was saying, Charlotte, about Stephanie McMahon talking about surprises on the Royal Rumble. Obviously, we got the huge pop for Alexa Bliss. The last two being Charlotte and Roxanne, with Charlotte winning. Roxanne, if I'm not mistaken, was the Iron Woman in that match. So obviously that was kind of good. And obviously, fast forward to the end of the episode, we see John Cena congratulating Jey Uso for winning the Rumble, and he's like, this is one more step in the story, which obviously is building up to the big episode 4, which is titled Heel Turn, which goes on about how it came about, the idea of turning John Cena heel. But that's gonna be next episode, guys. Remember, if you like this type of content, like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you want to watch these episodes early, go watch them on Patreon. And as I always say, cherish beautiful moments with your families, create beautiful memories, because life's too short, but those memories last a lifetime. As always, this is Anthony signing off. Bye bye.